Over here, normal, you know, like we always want to keep everything level and square. This open like a hair, it's not even that much. So like, you know, I see it. I know so maybe it's a little hard to visualize it because this pipe is in the way, but it is a slight down pitch a little bit, but it's something I can live with. Now, if it was completely crooked or a 45, absolutely not. But you know, you make the judgment call. Sometimes people say, oh, I wouldn't do that. Listen, it's not a matter of would it look a little aesthetically better? Yeah, absolutely. But it's like an eighth of an inch, like it's nothing, a cunt hair. Can I say that on the camera? You know, it's just very, very, very minute. So I can live with that, it's not a big deal. Everything else is squared, so we're good to go. And also, it's very important as well, I forgot to mention this, is that the guy who was here before created what we call a manifold. So a manifold is manifold these two hot water heaters together to make basically one. So you want to make sure this is squared, because if this is not squared, meaning when we say square in our industry, meaning level, straight, that means this is going to throw this measurement off. So if this is shorter, longer, does not matter. It's going to make this pipe either go this way or this way. So we want to be right in line with the next hot water heater. Otherwise, it's going to fuck us up. And nobody wants any fuck up. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear about any fuck ups. I don't want to hear fuck ups, period. Because that costs me money. But again, I know I was once a teenager, I was once a younger man. So yeah, I remember my early days, you know, fuck ups, but we try to make those fuck ups very small, minute. No, you know, such thing as zero fuck ups, but you guys get the point. Because fuck ups cost money, and I'm not in business to lose money. I'm in business to make money, teach my next guy so he can make money, and so on and so forth. But I'm definitely not in business to make money, nor I'm a charity. So I'd be pretty pissed off, and I think a lot of owners, guys have been in the business for a long time, understand exactly what I'm talking about, or knows exactly what I'm talking about. All right, bro, I got the nipples. Here. Thank you. It's twisting, and twisting, and twisting. The purple nipple. This is what a slip coupling looks like. The only difference is there's usually like an indent in the middle. In this case, it doesn't have one because it's a slip coupling. So if you can think of it this way, right here, this is the nipple or the pipe. There we go. That's what that means. So it goes right through. So normally, if there was a stopper here, this would go only to that point. So it will go in, and that's it. It could come out, but it could always go in and out, in and out. There you go. Only the professionals is what carry the elite tools. So that's why Louis the Boilerman carries nothing but the best. That's right, we carry Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the #1 brand, which is also branding us, because if we do a good job and they do a great tool, it's nothing but success. Success equals more success. So great worker, great work ethics, be clean and do the right thing, and with the right tools, job gets done and you make money, baby, money. So right now we have a slight leak, and that's normal. When we're replacing hot water heaters, they have the packing nut, so we gotta tighten it. Ryan's gonna tighten it for you. And now that you finish tightening the nut, then you'll be able to put the handle back on and screw it right back on, so then you can open up the cold water. So tighten that nut, baby. Whoa! Woo-hoo-hoo! We got water! Music to my ears, baby. One of the best parts of this job is actually a full bathroom in the basement and clean. I'm glad we have a fucking toilet here, because man, when I gotta take a shit, I gotta take a shit. So right now we're actually starting to reconnect the gas piping. So right now he's putting the first bottom piece, or the tail piece we like to call it, on the bottom of the hot water heater. Why would we start backwards? The reason for that, because I need to take an actual measurement, because remember, we lifted the hot water heater. So we got about maybe 6 to 8 inches off the ground. So the pipe on the top is gonna have to decrease. So it's gonna have to be smaller. So what do? We have to cut and rethread the pipes. So the first thing we do to get the actual measurement is to put the bottom pieces first, which is on the left and the bottom right of the hot water heater. You guys can see. That's the union. Of course, it has to be off because gas is live. We're gonna take a measurement from here to wherever the union half is at. So momentarily you're gonna see, this is what's called the union half. If we disconnect this fitting, or the other half of that union, we'll connect it on top of the other half of the union. And what we'll do, we'll take a measurement in between the union and the gas valve. And that's gonna give you the exact measurement of the exact cut pipe that I need. So we could go to the threading machine and we use what's called the rigid 300 pipe threading machine to cut that pipe. And then we cut another piece of pipe. Disconnected the union half. We have a rough cut about 31 inches. ¿Qué tú quieres saber? Que es para secar el aire.
¿Flojo esto?
Oh no, déjalo aquí. No, union. Union, déjalo flojo. So basically what I was telling him in Spanish, and our own Spanish lingo, is basically telling me, should, once I connect the gas pipe, should I bleed it from the union or should I bleed it from the cap? The union's already open. It's already loose. Why not just do it for the union? And all that is to purge it, meaning take out the air from the actual little piece of pipe, or the tailpiece we like to call it. Make sure it's filled with gas. So when we close it, we know that it's purged, no air in it, just strictly gas. So when I light up the pilot doesn't take me fucking 15-20 minutes to do. It takes me about 5 minutes to do, to light it up and get it going. So the faster we get going, the faster the job gets done, the faster the customer's happy, the faster I go the fuck home. So we're putting the other union half on. That particular size is a 3/4 union. So now we gotta take a measurement from this point to this point over here.
Yeah.
How about 32 and a half?
32 and a half?
Yeah, 32 and a half. We're taking out the monster. This is the monster. This is the Rigid 300, baby. One of the best tools Rigid ever came out with. Let me tell you something. I remember one time I went to a job site and the guy said, yo, I'm about to throw this shit out. And mind you, I was a novice, meaning I was a rookie at the time. He tells me, I want to throw this shit out the way. I'm here, it's just basically it's like a small little supply house. They don't even know what they have in their hands. He's like, I'm gonna throw shit in the garbage. I'm looking at him like, you throwing that in the garbage? And he's like, yeah, well, you want it? He's like, if you want to go into the dumpster and go get it. I said, yeah, I'm gonna fucking get it. Little does this guy know, that fucking thing that he was throwing was like gold to me. Why? Because number one, a brand new Rigid 300 costs about, I would say about $5,000 to $6,000 all said and done, maybe more. And this guy's throwing it in the garbage. So like what they said before, whatever somebody else's garbage, somebody else's treasure, it was my treasure. It was definitely my calling for that day too as well. And the reason for that is because I took it out, I plugged that shit in, and it worked. And that particular Rigid 300, or that particular machine that I got at that time, lasted me about a good, I would say, 15 years, good 15 years more or less, and I got it from a garbage bin. Rigid is one of the most reliable, most durable tool out there. Guys, this is called a die. Also made by Rigid. Always the best. We the best, baby. That's right, it's a die, it's a 3/4 inch die. It's not just any die, it's a Rigid die. So what this is gonna basically do is just make threads, very simple. So we cut the pipe to length, whatever length we want. This one happens to have it because this comes from the factory. We changed the difference in the height of the actual gas hot water heater. So we're changing the pipe size. So we're decreasing the size to the right size in order for it to fit. But wherever he wants to cut the pipe, he cuts it. You have a cutter, pipe cutter, a special pipe cutter. You guys are gonna see it momentarily. And then after that, you take your extra die. If this is cut, you put this right over. You can see the slot goes right over the pipe. And once you get a feel for it, you grab it, the machine does the rest. Of course, this gotta be facing up. You can see by the arrow, depending on your positioning to the machine, because you can do it on the left or the right, but in this case I like to be on the right. I'm righty. Oh, Tony's back. We use the stamp on the actual pipe as a reference right here. Now this is a pipe cutter, also a Rigid pipe cutter, and when I usually cut the pipe. Only thing about this Rigid, with the actual wheel, we have to change the wheel. It's seen better days. Because we have the metallic. And that's how you cut a nipple. oil. All right, guys, so we're about to oil the nipple to make the threads that you guys can see right here. So we have a leak. So the reason he's draining out the water heater is that because we put cold water, we put pressure into the tank. So now you're creating pressure, and if we try to mess with something that's leaking, it's gonna positive pressure inside, meaning it wants to come out. It's never gonna make a good leak, or it's always gonna leak. The chances of it's leaking is gonna leak. So what we wanna do is take off the pressure. Right now the pressure is draining the joint a little bit. So we take off the pressure, we're gonna retighten it again with the Pro Press. Once you retighten with the Pro Press, we'll do it over again. So right now we're cutting off that particular valve out and that nipple. Turn the water on, so it's feeding the tank. And this building is about 8 floors. We open the valve, we turn on the cold water, so the water's going into the hot water, coming out the hot water heater. Granted, it's not hot because the hot water heater is still not on yet. But the water's going all the way to the 8th floor, 6th floor, whatever it is, right? It reaches that point. Now, there's no valves on the other side. There's valves on the top. But we remember, we put water to the system, and we want to change out that valve. So the water, when it gets to a certain point, right? Well, gravity must go down. So what happens is the water, if you break the pipe from over here, what does the water want to do? It wants to balance itself out. So the water here, the gravity, the weight of the water is pushing down. As it's coming down, the water wants to come back up. But because we put a vacuum on the bottom of the tank, because we have a pump here, it's actually sucking the water not from the bottom to the outside. So actually, we're tricking the actual water. All we do is redirecting, I should say, the water, instead of coming to us, going down that way. Cool trick, right? Because now I can release some of that pressure and I can do my job faster. Because otherwise, if I can't do my job faster, I'm stuck here another couple of hours, and at the end of the day, it costs me money, and I don't like to lose money. So that's part of working efficient. They don't teach you that shit in school, but they teach you that at Louis the Boilerman Academy. Real good, huh? There was a valve there before, and I actually do want to put another valve there, but because we already Pro Pressed the other 3 joints and we have no play to bring the pipe up, so we have something to improvise, which is called the slip coupling. So we'll actually cut the pipe pretty much the size, and then the slip coupling, there's no stopper, lines it up just right in the middle, and we're able to press and actually press the joint, and no water leaks. So as you can see, he's putting the nipple in, getting like a rough estimate. That's right. Now the coupling is gonna go over the joint. He already marked it from earlier, and that's it. It's that easy. Now I'm gonna use the Milwaukee Pro Press machine. If I had to do that with this solder, with a torch and solder, probably would take me like an extra, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes tops. You know how sexy that is? Make sure it's tight. So now we're gonna work on the flue pipe, also known as the exhaust pipe. So right now, we have a little bit of a height issue, not by a lot, but just enough that's creating a disturbance, which is this pipe right here. There's the hot water supply. So what we could do is either cut this pipe and raise it a little higher if you want. We really don't want to do that, so we're going to shorten up the elbow. Just cut it just about 3/4 to almost an inch, just about, in order for us to get a little bit of play and a little bit of a pitch. So remember, we need pitch, an incline pitch towards the chimney. You cannot put it backwards or do it what we call this a back pitch, because you get back pitch, you're going to get carbon monoxide into the building or in the house, so we don't want that. I would suggest to put that piece on first, and then you can use this as a reference, and they can line up more or less where you want to cut the other pipe at. Use it as a reference, cut it down, and then take a measurement more or less to about 9 inches. So guys, just like a puzzle, we're gonna do one piece at a time. The right side first, So once this is in place and this is supported, they can work our way this way. It's not gonna be 100% square, unfortunately. Well, you know, something I can live with. Why? Because I know it's going through an incline. It's a higher pitch, so it's going towards the chimney, a little under where I would like to be at. So that's good. We just basically made it. It's not gonna always be 100% or 100% clean. We try to make it clean as much as we can, but you gotta work again with what you got. Cause what's in the classroom and what's in a perfect world, a perfect setting, is not what happens in the real world. So sometimes you gotta, you know, compromise a little bit. If I had to be a nitpicker, I'll be here all day picking every single thing. So, you know, you just gotta work what you got. Granted, nobody really looks at this, but still, I take pride in my job, I take pride in my work, so I don't want that shit looking like shit. So it has to look like artwork, you know, piece of art, a fucking Picasso. In this case, it's Louis the Boiler Man, Louis the Picasso. You got what I'm saying? Careful, don't cut your finger, don't cut your hand. You usually have rough edges, so make sure to wear gloves, or be very careful if you don't have any gloves, because you can easily cut your hand, and we don't want that. That's happened many times, and it's pretty tight. Now once we got that in place, just screw it on, and then we gotta tighten up the seams. We use aluminum tape, or also people call them foil tape, but it's aluminum foil tape in this particular instance. So we gotta tape up the seams. We wanna reassure that any combustible product from the fire, especially carbon monoxide, is going right through the chimney. So we don't wanna have any problems. We wanna know nobody get hurt. So it's very important that safety should be priority, is what I'm trying to say. Not just only for us, also for the client. You know, God forbid something were to happen. You don't want that on your mind, unconscious, and you want them looking for you, saying, listen, you just killed, you know, a few people in the building because you did the wrong thing by not considering safety. So, safety first, guys, don't fuck around. That's a rule I would never break. But there's actual pitching that way, and there's pitching on an incline. So that is what we want. So despite the obstacles and the circumstances, what was presented to us, I still think we did a pretty good job, considering this is not square, this is crooked, this shit's all fucked up. the floor is not 100% square, but we did the best we can because we shimmed it, we put some cinder blocks on the bottom, and we leveled it, so we know, you know, even if it's off by a hair, I can live with a hair. All right, guys, we're almost done, so we're pretty much almost at the finish line. So right now we're wrapping up the seams. That's right, we're wrapping all the seams with aluminum tape. So once he's done, we're able to turn on the hot water heater. It's approximately 7:30 in the evening. It's a day right after Labor Day. But you gotta do what you gotta do. It's part of the job. You know, right now we're going into the fall season. So right now people are thinking about going back to school, going back to work, for those who are going back to work. And of course, we're also thinking about winter, holidays. So for us, we're transitioning to fall, and then of course fall to winter. That's what it's about, guys, putting it in those long hours. But it'll pay off at the end. So right now, we had on standby. Basically, we lit the pilot, now we turned it on. This doesn't really give you too much of an exact temperature, but it gives you like low, medium, and high. So I like to put them somewhere almost to high, because technically you should have a mixing valve, because you don't get anybody to get scolded or burn themselves, especially kids. But I like to leave it a little bit like somewhere in the middle. If they want to make it a little hotter, they can let them do that on their own. Because if I make it too hot and they get scolded, we don't want to be responsible. So I like to be somewhere in the middle. Everything's looking good. Listen, we have no leaks. We took care of the exhaust issue. We cut the pipes to size, so we took care of the gas, and we lit the pilot, no problem. And most importantly, it's done. So it's done. They're about to have some hot water to clean their cooler in about, I would say, an hour and a half, 2 hours, to make sure that the tanks are fully to the max temperature, because we don't know exactly what the temperature is, but I'm hoping it should be somewhere between 125, 130. That's the temperature we like to be at. Otherwise, anything after that is considered scalding. So we don't want nobody to get hurt or get scolded. So that's it. It's pretty much a wrap. So now we got to clean up. So because part of the job is cleaning up and making sure everything's clean, everything's nice and neat, and everybody looks at it and say, wow, what a beautiful job. And also he's fixing the issue right now with the exhaust pipe on the boiler. So that came off. I don't know exactly what happened, so we're going to adjust that because we don't want no gas leaks going into the boiler. Of course, the next couple of weeks it's going to be heating season because right now, as you can see, the temperature is starting to go down. It's about 65, 60 degrees. So that should be a pretty good indicator that fall is around the corner, literally around the corner. So we want to make sure that safety is first. He's going to take care of the exhaust. And mind you, we weren't here for that, but I saw it and I want to address it because I don't want nobody to get hurt. And of course, I was the last one here, and sure enough, if something were to happen, I should know better, and they're gonna point the finger to us if God forbid something were to happen. If you see something wrong, talk about it, say something about it, or just take initiative and do it yourself. You know what? Because you don't want accidents. Accidents can be very costly and very deadly at times if you do the wrong thing. So just do the right thing. And you know what? The man upstairs is gonna take care of you. It's called blessings.